Hello, it's Richard Wilson coming to you from London, and I'm going to talk to you about family office public relations. I'm going to go through about 3 minutes, bullet point style of advice, tips, and insights on family office marketing and public relations, and I think you'll find it helpful if you're operating a multifamily office. First of all, why is this really important? In the past, there were not very many multifamily offices. Now, there are more started every day. Trust me, I'm contacted by many individuals in Buenos Aires, Indonesia, Moscow, and of course, cities like Toronto, London, New York, where the family offices are being started over and over again. And the need to specialize will become greater and greater. You know, in 1910, if you went to the grocery store, there was the Kellogg Brothers cereal and pretty much no other option besides oatmeal or some type of ground up cereal. Well, nowadays there's literally thousands of cereal brands, and that's how the multifamily office industry will evolve and mature naturally. And in big cities like here in London, you need to be known for something or have unique special access to potential clients. And that's what this video is all about. So the number one thing to remember is that you need to specialize and have a unique selling, positioning statement and brand behind your multifamily office. Do you specialize in managing the wealth of high-tech multimillionaires? Do you specialize in being close in political circles, and that's how you meet your high net worth and ultra high net worth clients? Is your unique specialization maybe your investment research or your access to world-class private equity fund managers or co-investments? You need to have something which provides you a really unique edge, or you're just going to look plain vanilla and you're not going to win over the client, somebody else will. Another thing you need to do is have somebody in your team responsible for family office marketing and public relations. It sounds very basic, but typically it should not be the CEO unless it's truly their passion and it's something they've really dug into for a lot of their career, as I have. Otherwise, it should be either outsourced, you hire someone, put them on your advisory board, or put them as a director within your multifamily office, or you find somebody who is a co-partner or a managing director and maybe a top 7 executive at your multifamily office, and you add that responsibility to their calendar. And you say 10, 15 hours a week, I want you only to focus on this. A lot of large multifamily offices, I've met face-to-face with the CEOs and CIOs of about 35 out of the top 50 multifamily offices globally, and I can tell you I've only met 1 or 2 that have somebody dedicated full-time to marketing and public relations, or business development as they sometimes call it. And that kind of blows my mind, because a lot of them are just relying upon referrals, and they're generating a lot of cash now as a top 50 multifamily office. They have no excuse not to reinvest and focus on how their brand is being perceived and how they can be more well-known in the industry, and they just don't. They're just relying upon their old ways of being based on referrals. And you might say, oh, that's how the industry works, but it's not. I hear from high net worth individuals. I've been cold called and emailed by over 40 different billion-dollar families and family offices and hundreds of high net worth individuals, and I have far less resources than a lot of these large multifamily offices in terms of my revenue and free cash flow. They could outmarket me by a factor of 3 if they wanted to, and be more well known as a helpful, thought leader and member of the family office community. So they could be doing a lot more. Another couple quick tips is know who your avatar focus is. So in other words, avatar means know who you're targeting. Are you looking at professional athletes that live only in your city? Are you looking nationwide at people who have made $100 million or more in real estate, and that's what you specialize in? Know exactly who you're targeting, and then you can find those people. If you're only looking to attract plastic surgeons or professional athletes, then you can only go where those individuals are, speak only at their conferences, write articles for their magazines, send newsletters only to those individuals, and you can spend a lot more on the specialized marketing and helpful advice and resources for that group of individuals than you could if you're just going after anybody who has $100 million or more, or $20 million or more. So I think that is pretty critical. Last couple points here is focus on thought leadership and providing helpful information first instead of selling. You could get a big billboard and put it alongside a road, or sponsor an event, and that can help get you more well known. But what's going to be more meaningful is to have people consume something like a white paper, a book you've written, and then they call you and they want to work with you. And they come to you as a business friend and a welcome guest into their home or into their business and office to learn about how to work together and partner, instead of somebody who's trying to sell them something and you have a salesperson trying to cold call them. It's much better to have them reaching out to you. Next, you also want to make sure that you have a great logo that represents the market that you're focused on, the client avatar, the type of client that you're focused on, and that represents something that looks very high quality and somewhat prestigious or detail oriented, because that's the nature of our business. Or if you have a very modern, forward-looking multifamily office, virtual family office type setup, something that looks kind of high-tech but family office related. And that's what we've tried to do with our Wilson family crest. Luckily, we had that in our family for a very long time on a wooden shield in my house, so it's relatively easy to use it and think it up. But you need to find something that really represents the industry and your unique edge in the marketplace as well. Next, you also want to look at having policies and rules in place. So if some team member on your multifamily office gets interviewed, do they consult with you first? Do they only say things which have been approved by your compliance council? Are they allowed to speak with the press? You need to figure all of that out up front and have a PR marketing policy for your multifamily office, no matter how large you are, at least so you know for yourself who you talk to, what you're allowed to say, what the boundaries are. Maybe speak to your legal and compliance department about that. It can be simple and one page long. That is something important to have in place. And the final thing I wanted to mention is that when you're doing this, you need to make sure that you have your team set up so that you are attracting clients very consistently, that your office is set up so that you're attracting clients and not repelling them. A lot of offices in the family office industry are not built for a lot of visitors to come to their offices. They're not built to impress their clients with the location of their office. Some of them are, and they have very high-level, prestigious offices, but a lot of them are tucked away, in suburbs and have just medium-quality office space and are not really set up to give people, a great tour of the space. And so I would encourage you to think about the potential client experience as they come in. And besides meeting with your division heads, maybe think about, what their first impression is, and they're in the waiting area of your multifamily office. What books are sitting on the table, what educational materials. And some of the top law firms in the world do an excellent job of this, but a lot of the top multifamily offices do a very poor job of this. And many times it can be their competition being marketed within the wealth management magazine sitting on the coffee table. And so I'd really encourage you to think through that process, and you got to put your marketing hat on, and for several hours a week have someone on your team who's only thinking through the marketing ins and outs of your multifamily office. This is Richard Wilson, coming to you from Buckingham Palace in London, talking about family office marketing and public relations. If you'd like to talk about this further or you need assistance, please email us at team@familyofficesgroup.com or visit us at familyofficesgroup.com. You can also pick up one of our books, the Family Office book, Investing Capital for the Ultra-Affluent, or my most recent book, The Single Family Office. You can pick them up both on Amazon. It's Richard Wilson, and I'll talk to you again soon.